What if Luke joined Darth Vader? In The Empire Strikes Back, we saw Vader offer Luke to join him and to rule the galaxy with him as father and son. However, as we all know, Luke refused and chose to fall down the reactor shaft instead. From there, he rejoined his group of friends, while Vader on the other hand continued his hunt for Luke over the next year. But what if things were different? What if Luke joined Vader when he asked him to? How different would the timeline be if he chose this path? Well, in this alternate timeline, that's exactly what we'll be diving into, so let's get right into it. Our story begins towards the end of the climatic duel between Luke and Darth Vader as the two battled it out on Cloud City. Just moments ago, Vader had sliced Luke's hand off and revealed to him that he was his father. However, this is where our story is different from the original. As Luke screamed in horror after learning the truth of who Vader was, he was at a loss for words. Vader's my father, he thought to himself? No, he couldn't be. Obi-Wan told him that Vader killed his father, so he must be lying, right? Then before he knew it, Vader spoke up.
Luke, we can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Luke went deep in thought. Join him, he thought to himself? He couldn't join him. He was pure evil. If he joined him, that would mean he would be betraying everything that Yoda and Obi-Wan taught him. No, he just couldn't. Luke then looked down. He was hoping that maybe he could fall down the reactor shaft and maybe the tractor beam at the bottom could save him. But then he started to have doubts. No, he couldn't do that. It was way too risky. Luke looked back up at Vader.
Come with me. It is the only way.
Luke took a pause. His thoughts started to shift. Although he was hesitant at first to join Vader, he thought to himself, what if he was right? What if they could actually destroy the Emperor together? For the last few years, all he's done was fight against the Empire. But what if he and Vader destroyed the Emperor together? Could that mean the war would finally end? Luke had to make a choice. There was no more time to waste. It was either fall down the shaft and risk not making it out alive, or join his so-called father and destroy the evil he's been fighting against for so long. Luke took a deep breath.
I will join you, Father.
As he said those words, Luke then felt something he'd never felt before. A connection to the man in front of him. For so long, he's just seen him as an enemy, but in that moment, he felt something in the Force. Although he couldn't really describe this feeling, for some reason, he felt close to Vader. He thought to himself, maybe he really is his father. In that moment, emotions rushed through Luke. He was scared, terrified, and although he wasn't sure what his future would hold now, he tried his best to trust in the will of the Force. All he hoped was that this decision was for the best.
Luke, come with me. Let us leave this city and repair your injuries at once.
Luke nodded his head and started climbing his way back to the Dark Lord. From there, the two then made their way to Vader's shuttle. As they were walking, many stormtroopers looked puzzled when they saw Vader and Luke together, especially since Luke was walking freely. He wasn't even in handcuffs. Although they were confused by this, they knew better than to question it, especially since they knew what Lord Vader would do if anybody questioned him. So, Luke and Vader made their way onto the shuttle, and as they did, Luke asked,
Where are we going?
Somewhere far from here. If we are to rule the galaxy together, we must be patient.
Luke nodded his head. However, his emotions were still rushing through him. Although he just joined Vader, he still felt so conflicted. He missed his friends. He missed Obi-Wan. He missed Yoda. Did he betray them by doing this, he thought to himself? He wasn't sure, but all he could do in that moment was hope for the best. From there, the two then set off to a very familiar planet to Vader, Mustafar. It was there where Vader would bring Luke to his own personal fortress and begin his training there in the ways of the dark side. Meanwhile, Leia, Chewie, and the crew were leaving Bespin, but with no word from Luke, they were sick worried. Although nobody had heard from him, Leia admitted that she felt something strange. She couldn't wrap her finger around it, but she felt something dark. Something sinister. It led her and the rest of the crew to believe that maybe Luke died by the hands of Vader, and that truly was the end of their close friend. Although they all mourned the loss of Luke, they knew they couldn't focus too much on it, because now they had another task at hand, rescuing Han. Then back on Dagobah, Obi-Wan and Yoda also sensed a turn of Luke Skywalker. Both Jedi were heartbroken that Luke went down the same path as his father, and as for Yoda, he himself believed that he failed the Jedi once again. Then on Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine sat in his office when all of a sudden he received a transmission from Admiral Piett.
Emperor Palpatine, I'm here to inform you that Lord Vader did not return back to the Executor. Although we do not know his exact whereabouts, it is rumored he left the city on his personal shuttle.
Is that so? Thank you for informing me, Admiral.
Oh, one last thing, sir. I received a report that he was exiting the city alongside the rebel pilot Luke Skywalker.
Palpatine paused.
I see. You are dismissed, Admiral.
As Palpatine sat in his chair, he started cackling.
Emperor Palpatine, it is possible that Lord Vader may be heading to his fortress on Mustafar.
Yes, let him. Let him train young Skywalker in secret. Lord Vader is clumsy as he is stupid. Inform our guard stationed there to leave immediately. From there we shall keep a close eye on him.
It will be done, my lord.
1 year had passed since the events of Cloud City, and Luke was stronger in the Force than anybody could have ever imagined. Under Vader's training, he taught him everything he knew in the dark side, and Luke had truly become a way different Force user than if he had just continued his training with Yoda. During the early days of their training, Vader told him the truth of why he fell to the dark side in the first place, and he explained to him how corrupt the Jedi truly were. He told Luke everything that happened the night of Order 66, and that it was the Jedi who were the ones who committed treason against the Republic. He explained that for years, the Jedi were seen as peacekeepers, but over time they lost their ways and were also the ones who held him back from his full potential. Vader went on to say that it was the Jedi who denied him the rank of Master, and how they were the reason why Luke's mother Padme died. The Jedi forced him to keep their relationship a secret, and if it weren't for their strict rules and corrupted ways, then she would still be alive right now. However, then Vader shared one more thing that struck Luke to his core. He told him what happened that night on Mustafar, and that Obi-Wan was the one who betrayed him and was also the reason why he was now trapped in this suit. When Luke heard this, he was filled with rage. For so long he admired the Jedi and always dreamed of becoming one, but now he was disgusted by them. He was furious that Obi-Wan and Yoda lied about so much to him and that they kept all of this a secret the entire time. Not only did they lie about Vader being his father, but they also lied about what actually happened and how they were in fact the corrupt ones, not the Empire. After hearing all this, Luke did something he had never done before. He showed his very first signs of darkness. As rage swelled within him, he wanted revenge on anybody responsible for this, so he did something unexpected. To get revenge, he revealed to Vader where Yoda was located so that they could attempt to ambush him. But to his surprise, Vader refused to go after him. He explained to Luke that he had no interest in side missions right now. The only thing that mattered was overthrowing the Emperor. So to prepare Luke, Vader spent a lot of time explaining the history of the Sith and their quest for greater power. However, he explained to Luke that because of their combined strength, the throne could be theirs together. Because of all the limitations Palpatine made to Vader's suit, Vader knew he couldn't take him on his own. But with Luke by his side, he knew they'd be able to take him together. In order for that to happen though, Luke needed to become stronger in the dark side, and so over the next year, Vader made sure of that. Day in and day out, Vader put Luke through brutal training sessions, and over time, Luke's skills only grew more and more each and every day. This shocked Vader because as he witnessed his son only get stronger, in a way, he saw himself in him. He thought to himself that Luke reminded him of what he was supposed to be had he never been injured. Although it filled Vader with rage still to this day, in a way, he was proud of his son as he had become a much stronger Force user than he could ever be. However, over time, Luke started to look different. Instead of the outfit he wore on Cloud City, he now wore an all-black outfit with a collar around his neck. Not only that, but there was also one more thing that changed. Instead of a blue lightsaber like before, Luke now wielded his own red lightsaber. Since he lost his last saber in his duel against Vader, he required a new one, so Vader decided to put his skills to a test. To do this, he forced Luke to fight off against one of his last few remaining Inquisitors, and luckily, Luke was able to defeat him. From there, he then took upon the Inquisitor's blade and used that as his new saber. Now a year later, Luke's skills in the dark side were beyond measure, and he had become a way different Force user and person than he was a year ago. Not only was he stronger in the Force, but over time, he was able to let go of his attachments to his old friends. At first, it was hard for him to be away from them, but under Vader's intense training, he was able to let go of these weak emotions and use it to fuel his hate and anger. Now that Luke had truly grown stronger in the dark side, it was time for his next step. It was now time for him and Vader to confront the Emperor. As the two stood in Vader's fortress together, Vader approached Luke and said,
Luke, it is now time for us to confront the Emperor. You have proven that you are now strong enough in the dark side.
I'm ready, Father.
Good. We leave for Coruscant immediately.
With that, the two set off for Coruscant. As the two arrived, they both made their way up to the Imperial Palace, where it was there they would confront Emperor Palpatine in his office. However, as they stood in the elevator, Vader looked at Luke and said,
Luke, the Emperor will try to manipulate you. Remember your training, and soon this Empire will be ours.
Yes, Father.
The doors then opened.
Guards, leave us. So, Lord Vader, I see you have betrayed me. Did you really believe I did not sense you have been training young Skywalker in the ways of the dark side? Only a fool like you would flee the Empire, hoping to overthrow me. You must remember, my friend, I own you.
Your rule ends now.
Ah, yes. And who will take my throne? You? It is unfortunate that you took it upon yourself to train young Skywalker in the ways of the Force. It seems his training has been limited. Join me by my side, young Skywalker, and I will teach you what your father could not.
Never, Your Highness. You underestimate our power.
Oh yes, you are just like your father. Foolish and ignorant.
From there, Palpatine ignited his crimson red saber. Vader and Luke also ignited theirs. Without hesitation, Palpatine then leaped towards the father and son, and from there, the three clashed lightsabers. It was now a battle for the future of the Empire, as Luke, Vader, and Palpatine all went back and forth. However, as the three clashed, Palpatine was impressed by Luke's abilities. He of course heard rumors about the boy a year ago, but going up against him impressed him even more. Although he was young and still had raw power, Palpatine felt that the dark side was strong with him, even only training for just a year. Even though he still had much to learn, Palpatine believed that Luke would make a far better apprentice than Vader ever was. However, as the duel continued, Palpatine started to grow impatient, so he knew he had to make a move quickly. Out of nowhere, he then dodged one of Luke's saber strikes, and in a highly calculated move, he force pushed him, which knocked him right to the ground. Since he knew Luke would get up soon, he had to take advantage of this moment, so he quickly went into a 1v1 isolation against Vader. Because he was the one who created Vader's suit all those years ago, he knew Vader's biggest weakness, Force Lightning. So, Palpatine took a step back, and as he let go of his lightsaber, he used both hands to strike Vader with Force Lightning. At first, Vader was able to block his lightning with his lightsaber, but over time, Palpatine's strength started to overwhelm him. Eventually, the lightning knocked his saber out of his hands, and from there, Vader was brought to the ground.
You will always be a tool, Lord Vader. You couldn't save Padme, and now you can't even save your own son. Just like you, he will be mine.
As Palpatine continued to torture Vader, Luke began to pick himself back up. He looked over, and as he did, he watched the Emperor torture his own father. No, he thought to himself, he couldn't allow this. Luke's anger started to swell up. He had so much hate towards the Emperor for treating his father like a tool for so many years, and now he was doing it again, this time right in front of him. Luke had enough. He had to do something about this. So he quickly grabbed his lightsaber, and as Palpatine had his back towards him, Luke rushed right towards him when then, out of nowhere, Luke struck his saber right through Palpatine's chest. It was over. Emperor Palpatine was dead. As Luke stood there, stunned at what he just did, he was at a loss for words. For so long he had been training in the dark side, but now he had his first taste of revenge, and nothing felt better. He felt powerful, he felt on top of the world. Nothing could stop him now. However, before he could continue savoring this moment, he saw his father on the floor, struggling to breathe. So he quickly rushed over to him and said,
Father, are you all right?
Luke, it is over for me.
But Father, focus on your rage. You were the one that taught me that you could use it to stay alive. Do not give up.
It is too late for me, Luke. I have taught you everything I know. Now, go. Rule this empire and finish what we started, my son.
With one final breath, Vader let go and collapsed to the floor. It was done. Darth Vader was dead. As Luke sat there, he clenched his fist, and for the first time ever, his eyes formed into a blazing red and yellow. He's never felt rage more than he ever felt in this moment. He had hatred. He had anger. He was furious at the Emperor for doing this to his father. He had rage towards Obi-Wan for putting him in this suit in the first place. Luke had enough. With the Emperor and Vader now dead, this galaxy belonged to him now, and so he had one thing and one thing on his mind only: to finish what his father started. However, then out of nowhere, he heard a comlink chime. This comlink sound was coming directly next to Palpatine's dead body. So Luke went over, and as he answered it, it was Palpatine's advisor, Amedda.
Where is the Emperor? I demand to speak to him immediately. Your Emperor is dead. I am your Emperor now. If you choose to go against me, I will ensure you'll suffer the same fate as him. Now, what is it? Excuse me. Did you say I'll give you one last chance? What is it? We have just received a report that the band of rebels are approaching the forest moon of Endor. Luckily, the Death Star is in position for attack when ordered. Good. Allow them to land. Then, you may fire when ready. It will be done, Lord Skywalker.